So this theory is going to be about, did Ryuga actually die? And how did Sakyo inherit Dark Knight Dragoon? So firstly, as we look at the end of the battle between, Rago versus Ryuga, right? Obviously, it looks as if Rago killed Ryuga, and Ryuga sacrificed his last life force to give his power to Kenta, and then this is when Ryuga disappeared. Well, firstly, if you actually look at the manga, because bear in mind too, the Beyblade manga ties into the anime. Ryuga is actually alive in the manga, and he battles Sakyo in the manga. So when we actually look at this, right, and we can compare the manga to the anime, right, which also ties in, it's actually confirmed Ryuga is still technically alive. And he must have disappeared somewhere, and his spirit must have disappeared somewhere after his battle with, Rago. So, where did Ryuga actually go after the match with Rago? So Ryuga most likely teleported to somewhere to heal and rest his wounds. And the thing about the anime, which gets very, very confusing, is at the end of the Beyblade Metal Fury saga, you see Ryuga in the sky looking down at Jinga. So sort of like, basically it looked as if Ryuga was dead, which that's how it was implied in the anime. So there's a lot of plot holes going on here. But here's my theory. I believe Ryuga was looking down on Jinga at the end of the Metal Fury, simply being as if Ryuga was watching somewhere of Jinga's battle with Rago. So Ryuga must have definitely been watching somewhere. Now, also understand this, right? So it's kind of confirmed as well that Ryuga was still alive, because if we look at Rago's match with Jinga, right, Rago was still using Ryuga's power. The dragon spirit of El Drago was still in Rago, and Rago was using El Drago's spirit. Now, if Ryuga was dead, that would mean, El Drago's spirit wouldn't be present, which basically means El Drago's spirit would still not be in Rago. So, heavily implied once again, Ryuga was still present and alive during the time of the battle. So Ryuga must have been watching somewhere, and he was healing his wounds. So, fast forward, right? I'm guessing a couple years later, or like a year later, Ryuga must have met Sakyo when Sakyo was a child. And I believe Ryuga must have trained Sakyo and gave Sakyo Dark Knight Dragoon, which happened pretty much years later. So, either that's another theory, or the second theory is Ryuga has no idea who Sakyo is, but sort of like Ryuga was present during the time of everything taking place in 0G, which is obviously Shogun Steel. So when we look at the manga, Ryuga has no idea who Sakyo is. Zero idea who Sakyo is. So once again, heavily implied, Ryuga is still alive either way. He just either knew who Sakyo was or he didn't know who Sakyo was. Which once again, there's a lot of plot holes going on in Beyblade. There's way too many plot holes. So it does get kind of confusing. But it all makes sense if you actually add everything up. So Ryuga obviously inherited El Drago and, inherited Dragoon to Sakyo. And I'm guessing Ryuga was alive during the entire time period of the Metal Saga. You feel me? So, if Ryuga is alive, that would mean, A, number one, he gave Sakyo Dark Knight Dragoon, or B, Ryuga was alive and he had no idea who Sakyo was. So, once again, there's two theories behind this. Either way, it is implied Ryuga is still alive. He's still present and alive somewhere. You know what I mean?